I think in the core you need to find your passion, right? And my passion is like basically solving problems.
Yes, welcome to Roll Right In, the podcast that cares about the entrepreneurs. We believe that the big problems in this world can only be solved by entrepreneurs. And yeah, we're here at the conference Start Summit in St. Gallen. It's a huge and a great conference for startups. And today we have a guest, it's Bastian Krautwald from Berlin. He's a big star in the startup scene, and we are very proud to have him as a guest. Hello, Bastian.
Thanks for having me. Hopefully I can go with the statement, right, and fulfill all the requests. Let's see.
So please, can you give background about you? I think it's a very appealing and a very exciting story that you have created since you are a teenager.
Yeah, since I'm a teenager, right. Let me start. I more or less came to Berlin being in 2015 for my cooperative studies, but after a couple of weeks finding myself in the subway, seeing somebody playing Candy Crush on his phone, I was quite sure that being a bank advisor probably is not my passion, right? So see that there's a game, somebody playing in the subway, I'm very curious to find out, and I thought probably someday I want to do the same for myself, right? Find a very random person at the street and see that they get some kind of fulfillment from a solution that I built. And that was the beginning of more or less the journey, because then I started building a bank advisor just by myself within this cooperative studies. So studying, try to replace myself with a recommendation engine more or less. Joined Axel Springer Plug and Play Accelerator, where I met Ole for the very first time. Thanks for all the coaching. Ole, when it doesn't work out today, this podcast, probably it's also your fault, right? No, just joking. Thanks for all this support during this time. And then I figured out that probably creating an overwhelming product for the very first one doesn't make sense at all, right? Not as a founder, not as a customer. That's why we narrowed it down. Created a platform for study financing. Today, the market-leading platform. It's called deineStudienfinanzierung, a very common German typical name, but it tells you what you get, right? So you get more or less a very simple approach to apply and get a payout for student loans, for grants, for scholarships in a couple of minutes instead of a couple of months. And then after we turned this platform into a profitable business in 2020 with a couple of millions in revenues, I decided to go on and build a team independently and started with the next journey of building Owwwn. And Owwwn today, as we announced it, is a new kind of map. More or less, we believe that Google Maps is a cool starting point, right, to have some kind of orientation, navigation. It's doing the same since 25 years, right? And we believe it's time to use all the power of technologies nowadays, right? Socialize this environment, make it more collaborative, have an opportunity to integrate apps that you use every day, right? Car sharing from Uber, booking a hotel, as well as make it personalized as possible. So this is the next kind of map we believe in that should enrich your real life experience. So that was a very short pitch, covering 3 stations from bank advisor to nowadays maps.
Okay, so it's a great story. So let's go a step back to this Studienfinanzierung.
Yeah.
I think that's very interesting because, do you know SoFi, of course?
Sure, very, very famous business.
So it sounds a little bit they were inspired by your company. What do you think?
It would be nice if they are inspired from our company, but the other way around, right? We saw SoFi doing a great job in the US, and the interesting part is for a generation like before, right? We are tackling Gen Z or tackled Gen Z with this product. SoFi proved this in the American market that this is the opportunity to start with a study financing approach and build a financial company around, right? A public financial company with a couple of billions in revenues. Great business, and we always aim for this success.
And also in your company, the Studienfinanzierung, you also go with the user getting older and having other needs. So, for instance, needs a mortgage to build a house, or
that was our hypothesis. We thought that taking the next step with Owwwn, that we probably can lock in this user group of students and see that we can support them through their entire financial life. the truth is that today you have such a fragmented market that the Generation Z already build more or less a system around PayPal, digital applications, and then 3-4 digital accounts that they have without having a joint solution. And they don't need a joint solution, as we figured out in the last 1.5 years. So yes, you're completely right. We thought that like copying SoFi, bring it to the European market, starting with study financing and translate it into the financial life of a customer is a very proven model. But it turned out like it was a proven model for millennials. It's not a proven model for Gen Z, because Gen Z is digital. They found solutions. They found their way to make it convenient just for themselves without getting solutions from any other player, bundling all this stuff together.
Okay, so no, that's I think it's very an important point. You have done this this company.
Yep.
You built it from scratch, and you have a lot of lessons learned. So these lessons learned is something that you now, based on these, you are building a new company.
Yes.
That basically a Google Maps hunter.
Yeah.
Can you just elaborate a little bit more about these lessons learned? Because I think here many new and young founders are very interested in these learnings.
Yeah, I think most of the time doing this path is like keep it up, right? So you will learn a lot of things during this journey, but you need to try and find out. Like as you said, like you had a hypothesis. I personally had a hypothesis why we like took the next step and tried to build up the solution. But then you need this honest truth to yourself, right? Figuring out that probably it doesn't work out and you can't make the cut too late. When you figure out and you just for yourself believe that something is not the opportunity anymore because you have new insights, new learnings. And I think this is the biggest part. You need to start, as we did, right? We started with study financing. It's an amazing business. It's an amazing company, a great team that do it just by themselves. Very proud that they managed it to like handle kind of 10,000 people a month, right? And then you try to validate the next hypothesis, and you need to find a way. You start it, but you need to find a way also to make a hard cut, right? Kill the darlings when you found out that probably it doesn't work out. And I think these are two major learnings. You need to start because you never know whether it's going to happen or not, right? You never know if you're like successful, but you will find out. You need to do it, and during this time you need to be very crystal clear, honest to yourself. Is it the right path? If not, make very hard decisions. And very hard decisions are necessary when you want to like more or less still keep up with the business and probably find the next path, right? It doesn't work most of the time with the first shot, but you need to reiterate, think about it, and I think right now this is obviously my most reliable impression because I'm in this period right after making these hard decisions and restructuring the team, build everything up from scratch again, but it's necessary when you want to succeed.
So as founders, a little bit older than the ones here at this conference, but you know, we all can remember when we started, you have this insecurity in you have your anxiety to get started. You don't know if you are able to do that. I think that's a completely normal phenomenon when you are a young founder. When you now look back, what is your strength? You know, that was crucial that these companies have become so successful.
That's quite interesting because I'm now 26, right? And like most of my friends are on this age, like could be part of this amazing conference. And I think I never did it because I want to be a founder. I did it because I want to change something fundamentally, right? Being in a bank, even if the product was not successful, I was starting with the product because I didn't see the need for me being there in front of a customer explaining the repetitive things 8-9 times a day again. Like which account type do you need, right? I started because I saw a need and I wanted to solve this need for a bunch of people. And I think most of the time if you're insecure, you think too much about like, I want to be a founder, what do I need to do, what is necessary? I think in the core you need to find your passion, right? And my passion is like basically solving problems that I face, problems that probably I think are crucial, necessary to be solved, that makes life more joyful, right? And in this case, I think that was always my biggest driver and motivator to aim for the maximum outcome and the maximum fulfillment for this user group. And always now the same again. I believe that people have a lot of joy spending time in real life. And being in Zurich yesterday for the very first time since I think 2018, I figure like I have no fucking clue where I need to go, right? There's nothing personalized. I didn't see places where my friends have been before. I needed to sign up for a new public transportation to like book a ticket. So overall, I was lost, right? And I think having this moments where you discover that there's an actual need, I think this is the biggest driver, and in the end makes you doing, or like brings you into the situation that you take these hard decisions because they are necessary for brings you to the user, solving the user need, right? That makes you solving a user need, and I think that's my biggest motivator and probably my biggest strength, that I had some kind of purpose, sense behind why I was doing it.
So that brings me to my last question for today, namely, indirectly you're talking about the team, so it's absolutely crucial that yourself, I'm just trying to sum it up, so that you realize what you are best in, and you don't want to lose time by doing something else where you're not as good as. So that's the way you you have chosen your partners, or you have hired a team, or what is your approach, what you can recommend to founders?
Yeah, I think what you will find out over the time is that the team is changing, right? And I think you made the same experience. From stage to stage, you need different expertise, right? And I think obviously find people in a very early stage that you believe can go with you 1, 2, 3 stages is a moonshot. Quite often it doesn't work, but I think now I found out hiring somebody that we will announce in a couple of weeks that is like double my age, but in the same time I think we're in the same level because we have the similar purpose. He saw later stages, he saw pre-seed stages, turned it into successful businesses. Probably I was doing the same, and I think find somebody that is able, like next to your side, challenge you from a different angle, probably having completely different perspectives. It's pretty valuable, and the other side, probably when you find somebody that can take the next steps together with you, obviously it's a shortcut, right? It makes it's accelerating the process. It's you don't need to start again finding somebody at the Series A or Series B because the person's already there. But most of the time, just start, right? I think this is the hardest part. We can think about all of these aspects, but like most of the people fail because they never started. And I think you can wait for the perfect person, but you can also start, and over time you will figure out who's the right one. And I think this will get more clear, more and more after you made the first experiences, right? And I think that's a fair game, and this is like fair on this journey.
Thank you very much, Bastian. And yeah, so it's very simple. Get started right away. Don't wait, and solve the problems on the way there. Thank you very much. See you next week.